Hey everyone! Welcome to Update X24H, your go-to channel for the latest news, hottest dramas, breaking stories, and all the buzz from the world of entertainment. We're here to keep you updated, entertained, and always in the loop. Hit that subscribe button and join our growing family, because here at Update X24H, we bring you the news that matters, the drama you love, and the stories you can't miss. Thanks for being part of our community. Let's stay connected, stay updated, and keep the good vibes rolling.
A strange, suspended silence that spread across the venue the second Zhao Lusi stepped into view at Rosy Vogue Moments. Conversations that had been flowing naturally just seconds before suddenly faded. Cameras that were already recording adjusted their focus instinctively, as if every lens had received the same silent instruction. Even the air felt different, heavier with anticipation, like something important was about to unfold without warning. And then it did. She appeared in a flowing red gown that didn't just complement the runway, it transformed it. The fabric moved with a softness that felt almost unreal under the layered lighting, blending with the drifting mist across the stage. It wasn't just an entrance. It was a visual shift, like the entire environment had been rewritten in real time around her presence. What made the moment impossible to ignore was not excess or exaggeration, it was balance. The contrast between the deep intensity of the red fabric and the cool, hazy atmosphere created something visually magnetic, something that felt closer to a cinematic sequence than a live fashion event. For a few seconds, nobody reacted the way they normally would. There were no immediate cheers, no rushed applause, just stillness. A stillness that often appears when the mind is trying to process something it wasn't prepared for. Then slowly everything followed. Phones rose into the air. Some hands were slightly late, as if the owners had forgotten why they were holding them in the first place. A few people simply stood still, choosing to watch directly instead of recording, as if they understood that some moments lose their meaning once filtered through a screen. Online, however, nothing remained still. Within minutes, clips began circulating across platforms, spreading not because they were promoted, but because they carried something unexplainable. Viewers who hadn't even been watching the event live suddenly found themselves drawn into short fragments of motion, replaying them repeatedly without fully understanding why. Words began to repeat across comments in different languages. Cinematic, unreal, magnetic, unforgettable. Not because anyone coordinated them, but because people were searching for the closest language to describe something that felt emotionally immediate but difficult to define. What stood out most wasn't only how Zhao Lusi looked, but how she existed within the moment. There was no sense of performance in the exaggerated sense, no attempt to overpower the stage. Instead, there was a quiet control, a presence that felt grounded rather than forced. She moved with a calm confidence that didn't demand attention, yet made it impossible to look away. In an industry where visibility is often fought for, this kind of presence creates a different type of impact. It doesn't compete for focus. It absorbs it. The mist continued to drift across the runway, softening the edges of the scene. Lights shifted subtly, reflecting off the fabric as she moved. Each step felt unhurried, as if time itself had adjusted its pace to match the rhythm of the moment. And that is where the emotional shift began. Viewers weren't just watching a fashion appearance anymore. They were experiencing a visual memory forming in real time. Something that felt less like an event and more like a shared emotional pause across thousands of people simultaneously. As the footage spread, reactions grew more intense not in volume but in depth. People didn't just say it was beautiful. They tried to explain how it made them feel. Some described a sense of calm they didn't expect. Others spoke about how they kept replaying the same few seconds without realizing how much time had passed. A few admitted they had forgotten every other appearance from the night entirely, and that is often how moments like this separate themselves from the rest. They don't overwhelm with information. They linger emotionally. But as the conversation expanded, another layer quietly entered the discussion. Among the many clips shared from the event, viewers began noticing subtle reactions involving Liu Yuning, nothing staged, nothing confirmed. Just natural, fleeting expressions that some fans interpreted as quiet admiration during Zhao Lusi's runway presence. A glance held slightly longer than casual observation, a brief shift in attention during key moments. Small human reactions that, under normal circumstances, would go unnoticed. But in a moment already charged with emotion, even the smallest detail became amplified. And this is where audience interpretation becomes part of the story itself. Because modern viewers no longer consume celebrity moments passively. They analyze them. They slow them down. They search for meaning inside micro-expressions, inside timing, inside silence. Not because everything must have hidden meaning, but because emotional storytelling often lives in the space between what is shown and what is felt. What made the situation even more engaging was the absence of anything explicitly dramatic. There were no controversies, no forced interactions, no exaggerated narratives. Yet the conversation still grew, driven entirely by perception and emotional response. That kind of engagement is rare. It doesn't rely on shock, it relies on resonance. As hours passed, the runway moment continued circulating, evolving from a simple fashion appearance into something closer to a collective memory. International audiences joined the discussion, many of them without deep knowledge of the context, yet still emotionally responding to the visuals alone. Because emotion, when captured visually, does not require translation. A red dress moving through mist, a quiet expression under soft light, a still moment that feels larger than itself. These are universal signals. They reach people before explanation does. And that is perhaps the most powerful aspect of the entire moment. It didn't demand attention, it earned it, slowly, naturally, without force. Even after the event ended, the discussion didn't fade, it transformed. Clips were edited, slowed down, recolored, and reshared. Each version trying to preserve something that viewers felt might disappear too quickly, otherwise. In a world where content is consumed in seconds, this moment resisted that pace. It asked people to pause, and they did, which leads to a simple reflection. Was this just another appearance in a long list of fashion events? Or was it one of those rare moments where atmosphere, presence, and emotion aligned so perfectly that it left an imprint far beyond the runway itself?